It's time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk, live from the Golden Q in Hayes. The Golden Q, dining, billiards, and a whole lot more. 2 blocks east of campus. The Golden Q. If the game is on, we're open. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Alice, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, and compassion, all right here. Adams Brown, strategic allies and CPAs. BTI, your John Deere dealer in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. The Taco Shop, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. G&L Tire and Automotive, complete automotive service and repair, and tires for all driving needs.
And a good Monday afternoon. It is time once again for Tiger Talk. Good to have you with us here on this Monday as we talk some Fort Hays State baseball and softball. The Tigers, both teams at home this weekend. The softball team had a very good weekend. Back 5-1 for the week, went 4-0 at home with doubleheader sweeps of Central Missouri and Lincoln. And they have 4 more home dates here on this homestand. Doubleheader scheduled for Friday with Newman and Saturday with the conference leaders, Central Oklahoma. We'll talk all about that and more with head coach Adrian Pilkington. Tiger baseball taking the first game against Missouri Western, dropping the final 2. We'll talk with Jared Goodale a little bit later on in the program. Tiger Talk presented by the Golden Q in Hayes, 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. They've got their Monday grilled cheeseburger special, but great menu selection to choose from, daily drink and food specials, of course, their burger of the month, and a whole lot more right here at the Golden Q. Again, 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. Again, a reminder, you can chime in with a question for either of the 2 coaches. All you have to do is go to the FHSU Athletics website, FHSUathletics.com. Go to fans. You'll get a drop-down menu. There in the very bottom, you'll see Ask the Coach. Submit your question. If we use it, you'll be in the running for a $25 gift card from the Golden Q to be used on any of their great menu items. And with that, we bring in the head coach of the Tiger softball team, Adrian Pilkington. Her squad 5-1 last week and have won 5 in a row, coming off the sweeps of Central Missouri as well as Lincoln here at home. And Coach, congratulations. We kind of talked about it, I think, in the Emporia State doubleheader, that when you just get on a little run, you have a good weekend, it can change a lot. And boy, it certainly has. You've won 5 in a row, and right now you're 1 game out of that last slot in the conference tournament. So obviously a lot to play for your team here down this stretch drive.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot on the line, and it feels like that every year. You know, whether you're fighting for the last spot or you're fighting for the first one, there's always a lot on the line. So glad to get out there and play some good softball and come out with some wins.
Yeah, just talk about that. I guess you win 5 in a row. You went 5-1, lost that opener to Northwest, but then won the second game, and then you sweep the 4 games at home. Just seems like your team's really rounding into shape right now, and maybe playing a little bit more consistent than they were earlier in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It kind of feels like, you know, we hit kind of spring break and then just hit a little bit of a lull, and we just, you know, have struggled to get consistent and get out of it. And I felt like we finally came to the ballpark and just played hard, pitch to pitch, and did some of the little things right.
You know, we've talked a lot about the youth on your team and kind of what you just said, that, you know, play pitch to pitch, you play hard every pitch, and every strike, every pitch is big. It takes a while, but it just feels like your team has maybe kind of figured that out now. To be expected with a young group, but it just seems like they've kind of found their stride a little bit, and all those factors are kind of just coming together.
Yeah, I think you really have to work with them just to kind of adopt that mentality and understand that, you know, you can't take a pitch off, and if you do, it can be costly, you know, down the road, or even in the moment for that matter. But yeah, it's something I think they have to learn a little bit. You know, they play short stints of conference and high school or things like that where they're really competing for something. But you know, the rest of the year, those kids, they play a lot of softball, but that's just game to game and weekend to weekend. So, you know, to have to put in that all-encompassing season experience is something that it's kind of a learned trait I've come to realize with them.
And how much is a longer season? I mean, obviously they play a lot in the summer, but in the high school season, which would have, I guess, a similar feel the way it's set up. Obviously, you don't play nearly as many games as you do in college. Do you notice that sometimes with some of the players where they maybe hit a wall where their seasons that they're used to would maybe be ending when they still have maybe a month and a half to go?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I maybe feel a little bit like we hit that lull right at spring break where it was just like, okay, spring break's hit and, a little bit of relax, you get school off, but really that's kind of the time you got to come together and regroup and refocus because it's almost like you have two separate seasons that you got to put together. So that's, again, another, learned trait that so my older kids have come to realize that, but the younger kids, you just got to push them along and show them the way as we go.
Split last Tuesday. We didn't have a show last week because of the travel and the games on Tuesday. Split with Northwest, lost the first game 6-0, held to 3 hits in that one. Breck Dickey pitched really well. What did she do to kind of stifle you guys at the plate in that first game on Tuesday?
I just don't think we were seeing her very well. It seems to have been the case a little bit, seeing us, us seeing left-handed pitching. It tends to get us a little bit. So just a little different look, and, she was just hitting that outside corner, just right and kind of inching off as she went, and we didn't adjust very well to, her strategy.
And then you come back, you hit 4 home runs in Game 2, and we've talked about this team. You have a little bit of home run power, but not a lot, but you hit 4 in a game. That had to feel good. You got one right out of the gate, got you on the board early. I mean, after the shutout and held to 3 hits, I imagine that had to kind of just loosen everybody up a little bit.
Yeah, hitting's so contagious, and once you kind of get it going and get it started, it's it's a lot easier to keep it rolling. But it was a fun, it's a fun thing for the kids when they have those big hits and those big moments, and I was really excited for Reese Curry actually because we had 2 outs and Breckbill was up, and so they kind of threw around Sarah Breckbill, and then they had to throw to Reese, and she made it hurt. And Reese didn't necessarily have the quickest start to the season, but she just stayed steadfast and really stayed at it, and she's starting to find some hits and find her groove at the plate. So I was happy for her. I was proud of her. Not to be overwhelmed in that moment.
Yeah, 2-out grand slam in the 4th inning. Her first collegiate home run. Pretty good mark for her. I mean, one I'm sure obviously she'll remember for the rest of her life.
Yeah, that's a pretty prolific moment. It's always exciting hitting your first home run in college, let alone for it to be a grand slam.
Yeah, and a big game like that. Sarah did get a 2-run homer a little bit later on in the contest. You hit 4. Madison Pierce had a 4-for-4 day, 5-for-6 in the doubleheader. Really swung the bat well.
Yeah, she did, and she's just a rock solid bat for us most of the time. She goes up there, she competes hard. She knows her zone and she knows what she's looking for, and she's able to fight off what she's not. So, really smart hitter. Will develop into a really solid piece for our lineup in the future.
You had the 4 home runs. We had 15 hits overall, your most in a conference game and second most for the season. So, yeah, the home runs stand out, but you did a good job of getting runners on base, hit the ball throughout the ball game.
Yeah, it felt a little bit more like the Pitt game where we were just more focused one at bat to the next, and then the big hits came. We weren't going up there looking for them. We were just going up there having quality at bats, and if we can do that more consistently, we're gonna be in better shape.
Isn't that how it always happens? When you go up trying to hit a home run, it never works out. We just try to hit the ball hard somewhere. Those are the ones that leave the park.
Yeah, it's just one of those. When you're stretching for it, it doesn't usually happen.
Well, the Tigers get the split in the 2 games in Maryville, then came home. Big doubleheader on Friday with Central Missouri, a team that's kind of had the Tigers' number as of late. But Fort Hays State gets the doubleheader sweep, and then they beat Lincoln on Saturday. We'll talk about those 2 games and preview the final 2 doubleheaders of the homestand, obviously key games with Newman and Central Oklahoma later on this week. Tiger Talk is brought to you by G&L Tire and Automotive, where they're celebrating 25 years of service with their 25 days of savings in the month of April. That's all at G&L Tire and Automotive. They're on the bricks in downtown Hays. More Tiger Talk after the break on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. It's brought to you in part today by the Hayes Orthopedic Institute. Expertise, technology, and compassion all right here. That's the Hayes Orthopedic Institute. They're the official team physicians of Fort Hays State Athletics. Gerard Wellbrock, head softball coach Adrian Pilkington. Tigers 5 in a row they've won after winning the final game last Tuesday in Maryville over Northwest, and then sweeps over Central Missouri and Lincoln here at home this weekend. And boy, Central Missouri had to be extra special. It had been an 11-game losing streak dating back to 2016 against the Jennies. They've had some really good teams in that stretch, but two really solid efforts by your guys to get the 2 wins.
Yeah, you know that I feel like we've had them on the ropes so many different times, and they just seem to come out and find the win. You know, whether that was at home. I remember, I think it was maybe 2016 where we had a line drive it to our outfielder, and she dove for it and didn't get it, and that's how they won. It just was kind of some tough breaks against them, but I think it felt like the monkey off of our back for those of us that have endured some of those losses, but it was a nice weekend and a big jump for the kids.
Game 1, they score in the 3rd, but then they get a batter called out for being out of the box. How much did that affect that game? And just, you limit them. It could have been a much bigger inning. It would have driven in a run, and it just seemed like after that you were kind of able to settle in and get the bats going a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just the point of the rule, where it's just like, you can do it once, you can do it twice, but you can't do it 3 times. So, yeah, it definitely helped our momentum. It helped us, get on track and be able to come back in and answer back.
And I think that's the big thing. You came right back, you answered, and Madison Pierce comes through with a 2-run single with 2 outs. One thing that, they had the call that goes your way and prevents an inning, but then you come back and answer it right away and took full advantage of it.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to, come back and just make that an even game. And, it's something we haven't always done, throughout the course of the year this year. So it's nice that, they score, we score. It just helps the morale.
How about Bailey Carlson? 2 shutout innings of relief. Did a good job of shutting the door in what proved to be a 5-3 victory. I mean, there's still a lot of softball left, and she really did a good job. Yeah,
she did do a nice job for us. She's just a hard-nosed, tough kid. So, we find that she does a good job in relief for us. So, she just goes out there and competes, and, that's all we can ask of her.
Morgan Schmidt, 5 innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, and did a good job of limiting the damage and holding them to the 3 runs until you guys could get the bats going and kind of get the momentum on that side of the plate.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she threw a pretty good game overall. Again, she does, a little bit better in the starting role for us, where she's, you feel in control of your game from inning 1. So certain kids are just better in different roles, but I think she did a good job going out there and, throwing well and keeping them off balance.
Game 2, you win it 5-1. They start with 3 singles, score a run in the first, and then 3 hits the rest of the way. The pitchers really did a great job.
Yeah, just sometimes.
Well, I guess Savannah did well the rest of the way.
She just needed to settle in a little bit. I think once she can kind of get on her pace and start throwing her game, she's a lot better. So she did a good job there. And I think those first couple, that 1 run came off a couple dink hits and nothing with authority. So I think she probably felt, some confidence based on that.
Yeah, got the complete game, just the 1 run, 6 hits, 5 strikeouts. No walks, though. We've seen it so often. That might be the biggest stat of the all. Strikeouts are great, but, boy, you limit the damage and don't give them any free passes. Makes a huge difference. Yeah,
and they had some lefties in their lineup. It's something we've had to work on, with most of our pitchers, just being able to throw to lefties and, not give them free passes. Usually those are the ones that have some speed, so it definitely helps keeping foot traffic off.
And you guys were aggressive on the bases in the second inning, kind of led you to a run. You were being aggressive on the paths and kind of feel like just kind of set the tone.
Yeah, it definitely helped, just going out and scrapping a run and seeing that the other team is capable of making mistakes that can be costly as well. Sometimes it feels like it's us that have made those mistakes in the past, but took advantage of those and not something that we've done frequently.
Well, Tigers get the wins 5-3 and 5-1, setting up 2 games with Lincoln on Saturday. We'll talk about the Blue Tigers and the Tigers, but first we need to pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
8th Street Liquor in Hayes does it every year, and every year it's bigger. The 8th Street Liquor Customer Appreciation Day is this Saturday.
With a combination of Kaiser Liquor and Fort Hays State Athletics, you're sure to be into something good. Kaiser Liquor and 14 KEYS Hayes.
Gerard Walbrock, head softball coach Adrian Pilkington back at the Golden Q in Hayes, home of Tiger Talk on this Monday. Good to have you with us, talking some Fort Hays State softball. Tigers have won 5 in a row. Swept Central Missouri on Friday, then Lincoln Saturday, and a team that struggled hadn't won a conference game. And I know for coaches, those are the scariest because you should win. You need to win with everything on the line. And your team, to their credit, took care of business. A couple of 8-0 victories.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we have everything to lose and they have nothing to lose. They never roll over and die. Those teams always go out there and compete, and sometimes they've actually given us some trouble in the past. So definitely something you got to go out there and stay on top of your business and make sure that you're handling your half of it.
And you scored in every inning but one in that first game, and then Edgar, the complete game shutout, just kind of carried over what she did the day before. Yeah,
no, that kid can be tough as nails. She can be a really, really good pitcher for us. You just got to, grow and learn and get confident and stay confident in herself. That's the main thing with Savannah is just, being able to appreciate the small victories and not be so tough on yourself.
And then Morgan, who pitched well the day before, but gets her first complete game shut out of the season, and was just solid. And the pitchers did the job. They didn't let Lincoln get any momentum, get some runs to where now they feel like, hey, we got a chance to win this. They never let that happen.
Yeah, no, they stayed pretty much in command, the game from inning one. And I think, again, we're having to throw by committee a lot. I think they're wearing down, but I think they did a little bit better job of pitching more efficiently, not running those pitch counts up, so they were able to last a little bit longer in some of those games.
And I would think that's huge this time of the year.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, you just try to limit it throughout the week because you just don't know how many innings each of them are going to have to go, and you make sure that they feel fresh but not overthrown. So it's definitely a fine line for those kids.
Well, the Tigers get the doubleheader sweep on Saturday, so they are now in the conference 8-10, as we said, just a game out of the 8th spot, which would get them into the MIAA tournament. Big games coming up again at home this weekend. Friday, 2 with Newman. Saturday, 2 with the conference leaders, Central Oklahoma. We'll talk about that when we return. Another break. Tiger Talk is brought to you by BTI. They're your John Deere dealer with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family, in partnership with your family. Back with more after this timeout on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Fact: 8th Street Liquor is where good times start. Next fact: 8th Street Liquor has the best selection and prices on beer, liquor, and wine. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the facts, but the fact of the matter is, you just can't get better than 8th Street Liquor. Yep, 8th Street Liquor, where good times start. That's the fact. Jack? Oh yes, they have plenty of Jack too.
Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Walbrock, Coach Adrian Pilkington. The program brought to you in part today by the Hayes Orthopedic Institute. Expertise, technology, and compassion all right here. That's the Hayes Orthopedic Institute. They're the official team physicians for Fort Hays State Athletics. Tigers softball at home. 2 more double headers here on this slate. They've got Newman on Friday, Central Oklahoma Saturday. Obviously, the Broncos lead the MIAA right now, having another great season, which probably puts even more weight and importance on Newman, a team that's right behind you. They're fighting to try to get into the postseason tournament. So, needless to say, huge doubleheader on Friday for your team.
Yeah, I mean, everything from here on out is going to be,
they're all big.
Yeah, it's almost like every doubleheader is season determining. It's just that's kind of how we have to play, and like we got something on the line.
Well, they did well against Rogers State, lost a couple to Northeastern, but proven they can play with some of the best teams in the conference. I mean, what do they do? What are maybe the concerns about the Jets?
Man, they're just scrappy, and they never give up. That's kind of just always been their MO, and they're going to battle, and they're going to go up there and take their hacks and make them count in every opportunity that they can get. So, I think for us, we just have to make sure we set the tone with our bats, from go, and make sure that we hit their pitching well.
And then Central Oklahoma. I mean, obviously they're having a great season. They're in first place right now. I mean, they always seem to find that pitcher to come in when you think, oh, maybe their staff's not going to be as good. I mean, they're solid up and down. I mean, really, not a lot of weaknesses on their lineup and in their team.
No, I mean, I think the main thing for them is they just hit the ball. They hit it really well. So we're just going to have to find ways to keep them off balance. I think there might be a little bit more potential for hitting their staff than you have been in the past. They throw a freshman a decent amount. We've seen the Lynch kid quite a few times now, and the best part about playing them is right now we get to play them at home. Which they have vocalized that they do not like. So, for us, it's just if we can find ways to take advantage of that and, make them make the plays. They play on turf a lot, and we all know what that can be like. And you come to our field, and it plays really hard, and it plays fast. So if you're not ready for it, you can make some mistakes. So, that's just going to be our goal is just play hard and push them, push them to make every play that we can.
Well, and that'll certainly be fun on Saturday. And, you look at the remainder of the slate. You've got a Northeastern who's also right there in the upper third of the conference. So, as you said, everyone's important. And probably you got to, especially with a young team, focus on the task at hand. Don't worry about the big picture, but you got to worry about the big picture. But yet, you got to focus every pitch, every game. Focus on this one. We'll move on to the next one after this one's over.
Yeah, play one pitch at a time. That's just what we're trying to tell them. If you can go one pitch and one play at a time, it takes the emotion out of it. It takes the apprehension out of the play. It just it helps you to kind of keep things in perspective. It's like I told them, if we could have handled things, earlier on in the season to not put this much pressure on ourselves. But at the end of the day, we're all competitors, and we love that part of playing sports, and we love all those moments of the game. So, it's just no better time than now to come out and compete hard and play hard. And so I think they embrace that this weekend. I hope that's something that we can, play with a little chip on our shoulder and just keep moving forward.
It's exciting for those young players. I mean, they're experiencing this for the first time, and regardless of how it plays out here the next couple of weeks, this will be great for them in their future careers of being in these situations. And as you said, hopefully not getting in these situations. You can take care of business a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's just, like I said before, it can be so, so encouraging and discouraging at the same moment. Because for me, I want to be able to compete each and every season and make our mark in the MIAA. And I felt like we were, set ourselves up for a really good, in a really good position to do that, based on last year coming into this year. And there's still a ton of talent on our field. And I think people are seeing that, something that we can feel confident about moving forward, but at the same time, we're just trying to focus on the now.
All right, sounds good. Well, have a good rest of the week of practice. We're doing the game on Friday, which is a 2 o'clock doubleheader right here on KAYS. So we'll have the broadcast of that one with Fort Hays State and Newman. Coach, we'll see you at the ballpark later this week.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
There you go, Adrian Pilkington, head softball coach at Fort Hays State. Again, they will play at 2 o'clock on Friday, Newman, and then a noon doubleheader with Central Oklahoma on Saturday. Tiger Talk is brought to you in part by the Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. You know the number, 625-7114, or download their handy Taco Shop app to get the full menu. Great delivery options as well. Off the Taco Shop, you've never had it so good. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some baseball with Coach Jared Goodale as Tiger Talk continues here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here. It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball lined. Knocked down by Brunson. Out at second. Throw to first is in time. Tigers turn their third double play. Boy, what a turn at second by Kreitzer after the diving stop by Brunson. Yeah, Fort Hays State turned 3 double plays in the game on Friday as they were taking on Missouri Western this weekend. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Welbrock, head baseball coach Jared Goodale. The program brought to you in part by Adams Brown, where they do more than just run numbers and file tax returns. They work hard to become strategic allies. Adams Brown, strategic allies and CPAs. Of course, we're live with the Golden Cube 2 blocks east of campus. The grilled cheeseburger is the daily Monday food special, one of our favorites. Of course, daily food, daily drink specials, the burger of the month, and a whole lot more at the Golden Q. If the game's on, they're open. Joined by baseball coach Jared Goodale. Boy, the series off to a great start. You get the dramatic 8-7 come from behind win. Brady Kreitzer with a walk-off homer in the 9th, and just couldn't string it together. Probably the most disappointing was he just didn't feel like there was a lot of energy at the ballpark on Friday after that thrilling win. Don't know if it took it out of him, but just could not carry the momentum after the great win to start the series on Thursday.
Yeah, that was disappointing. And I think some of that comes down to your starting pitcher too, like who you're facing that day. And that guy, he settled in. He did, and he pitched pretty good, but different. With the left-hander. But yeah, I was expecting to have a little bit more urgency. On Friday to come out and a little more energy from guys to. Go make it happen. We've tried to talk to them all year about that. It's like teams aren't just going to give it to you. You have to go beat teams. And it didn't feel like that, and just could never get anything going offensively.
Talk about Thursday night a little bit. It was a game in which a tight one early. They grabbed the 7-2 lead after 4, and then Grant Schmidt gets a big 3-run homer in the bottom of the 5th to get you back in the ball game. And obviously, from that point on, you were a part of it and felt you had a chance. But that was obviously a pretty large home run.
Yeah, we felt we liked the match. We felt like we were going to score offensively, but we needed a 0. They go 1, and then 2, and then 1, and then 3. It's like you can't let them, so it ends up being 7-2. It's like, well, we need a 0, and so we went pretty early to Jacob Douglas, who's been throwing the ball really well those last 3 or 4 outings, and thinking that he'd give you a 0, and then Grant hits a 3-run home run, and then you're like, here we go, giving us a chance, and Douglas's confidence grew, which was good to see, and then we did a good job of getting it close, and then tying it, and then Brady did his thing in the 9th.
Yeah, talk about Jacob, because he goes 5 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, no walks. I mean, obviously he was throwing really, really well.
Yeah, he was throwing the ball with conviction and belief and very confidently, which, like I said, that's built over his last 3 or 4 innings, and he was really cutting it loose. I did find out the next day that was his he's from Canada, and his folks and his brother were actually at the game, and that's the first time seeing him pitch in college. So
that worked out well.
That actually worked out really well. So I didn't know that at the time, but that makes a little bit more sense too. So it was good to see him pitch the ball really well, and find a way to get him a run.
And you mentioned pitching with conviction, and obviously there's been some games where the pitching just quite frankly hasn't been very good. How much of it comes back, just being aggressive, not backing down from hitters, going after them, trusting your stuff, kind of all that ties into pitching with conviction. How much has been, maybe the lack of that been a problem this year?
I think every facet of the game, that's the unique thing about baseball is it's such a mental game, and the confidence that you have when you have to be confident, because it's a game of failure, and it can beat you up, and the league can chew you up too, and so momentum goes both ways. We talk about that all the time, and confidence, and then not confidence, but you can just see it. You have that little bit of life on your fastball. It's just got that conviction. You throw it with belief, and not only can you see it as a coach, the other teams can see it. And then they know they got a tough day ahead of them. But, I think it plays a huge part, obviously, defensively, catching the ball at the plate. Bunting, every facet of the game comes down to confidence.
We heard the highlight earlier, the double play on Friday, the third of the 3. Griffin Brunson started that. He had a big weekend at the plate. He'd really been struggling. I think he would have been 0 for 30, but he got a big RBI single down the third base line to drive in a run in the 6th. That got you to within a run. You get another big RBI and get the run in the 7th inning to get it tied. Then obviously Brady hits the home run in the 9th inning. But good to see Griffin kind of break out of it. He was good with the glove all weekend, but I think he hit safely in all 3 of those games.
Yeah, it was good to see, and we need that out of him. We were kind of expecting him to be the everyday guy, this going into this year, and he just really struggled offensively early on, and I think Game 1 was his first RBI of the year, which is just, it's hard to fathom that, but he's just had a hard time getting above the baseball and just been popping it up a lot and striking it out. And he did a better job in giving himself a chance this weekend of hitting the ball on the ground and on the line and finding some holes. And that was a big one on game one.
Yeah, that gets you back in it. You get the run in the 7th. And then talk about Brady's at bat. With one out in the bottom of the 9th inning. He'd been swinging the bat pretty well. I mean, what a moment for him to hit a walk-off home run. Just talk about that at bat a little bit.
Yeah, that was cool. I thought he's been swinging the bat pretty good lately. Not as much to show for it. He had a couple hard-hit balls early in that game that the guy made a play on, and he was just looking for something out over the plate. He's better. He's got bat speed. He's got the tools to be a really good hitter. He's just young, and how you're going to get pitched a little bit different. But and again, the better his approach is the other way, the better he'll pull the ball, and which is kind of a strength of his because he's got some hand speed and bat speed, and we've been on him a lot about that. And the guy he was throwing. Ball kind of ran in on it and just left it right over the middle, and he didn't miss it, and it was a very cool moment for him.
And how much for young guys, but even for all players, to be willing to go the opposite way? I mean, you see it in Major League Baseball when players do get in slumps, and the first thing they say, just take it the opposite way, see the ball, find the grass, get hits. But it seems like when they're willing to do that, then they start being able to pull the ball and hit the ball for power. It's weird how that works. If you just let it happen, how it kind of just changes everything.
Yeah, it just goes back to your approach, and we're big on being able to drive the fastball away and then reacting to the inner half and reacting to off-speed pitches that are up in the zone. And again, if your timing is good at the fastball way, you can keep those off-speed pitches up in the zone fair when you pull them. And some guys it takes longer to figure that out than others, and some just the speed of the game, and experience and facing college pitchers and good college pitchers that are going to be able to execute a fastball in the outer half pretty consistently, and that kind of back to the old Braves mindset. We're going to be able to execute that fastball down and away, all the time, and that's why they were so successful. And until hitters make that adjustment, you just keep doing it. And depending on if you get a good umpire matchup, they're giving you 2-3 balls off. I mean, that's a tough day as a hitter, but it's a fun day as a pitcher and a catcher, as a batter, if you can just keep hitting that spot. But he's getting better about that, and everybody's got an off-speed pitch, too, in college, and the guys that are going to get ran out there. And so if you don't want to try to have to hit those, tougher off-speed pitches, you better be able to hit the fastball away and not miss it early on in counts.
Well, yeah, and he had a good day on Sunday, had 3 hits in the contest, so certainly good signs, and excited to see as his career goes and he gets a little bit more experience out there. We talked a little bit about Friday's game 2 of the series, and disappointing, but you had a good point. A lot of the credit goes to Jacob Wyrick. I mean, the lefty was good. It was the best he had pitched all year long. I mean, he was really dealing. He was hitting his spots. It just seemed like he just kept you guys off balance all day. You could just never get anything going against him.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to throwing up some zeros early. And Mason Holden, throwing up a zero in the first was great, but then I think they scored 3 in the second, and then they did a good job of just adding on, 1, and that's one of those things with it kind of let their guys settle into. But if we could and took the pressure off their offense when you got a 3-run lead, then a 4-run lead, then a 5-run lead, and you can play more aggressive, a little bit more loose, and take a little bit more chances, and that's kind of been a problem for us all year. Those if we're answering back offensively, that 4-4 game, or 4-2 game stays close instead of we don't score, and then it just kind of blows up on us late.
Well, I thought you said it well after the game. It was kind of death by paper cut. I think I don't know how many infields. Mason, I think, deserved a better line because it felt like he threw it pretty well, but I mean, just little bleeders that either barely got out of the infield or infield hits, and then just they kind of added up, and that mentally can be challenging, I'm sure.
Yeah, he wasn't as sharp as he was his last 2 outings, but he wasn't bad. Like you said, he made some good pitches. They just everything found a hole. We had a freshman catcher in there that's got to pick up the motor a little bit, and there was a few balls that we felt like they kind of ran on him. They just manufactured against him, but he didn't didn't really pitch all that bad as his line would dictate. But credit again when his stuff wasn't as sharp and he wasn't able to strike guys out. At Larks, if the wind's blowing out or just, you never know. I mean, the more the ball gets put in play, the better your chances are. And they kept, to their credit, they put the ball in play.
Yeah, they did a good job of that. I thought Zach Berg pitched pretty well. I mean, he ends up giving up the 5 runs. It kind of got away from him late, but encouraging coming off the injury from last year. Thought he threw pretty well and, tried to do as much as he could to keep the guys in that because even though it's 13-1, it was just they'd score a run, then had the big inning in the 8th inning. You guys are still a part of that thing.
Yeah, I think he threw a 0 in the 6th and maybe got out of it in the 5th and then kept it at 1 and then the 6th spot. It was I think the 3-run home run by their 3-hole or one of their bigger hitters and then we made a change, but. And I even asked the catcher where was that pitch at? And he's like, it really wasn't that bad of a pitch. I mean, he was kind of down away or just it was down. The guy did a good job with it and just kind of got it up in the air, and I think it was carrying out to right.
And it was a type of night for that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, the wind blowing out. Then Saturday, Saturday, the series finale, and you jump out to a 5-1 lead. Things were going well, and an 8-run third. We've talked about it before. It's been a big bugaboo this year, the big inning, but just could not get out of it. Couldn't get out of your way in a sense in that third inning. And that was really where the game turned. I mean, it turned on a dime.
Yeah, it was very disappointing. I thought you said it right too after the game that I've never seen a game flip that quick and. Just from a momentum standpoint, everything. We had some big hits. Brady with a 2-out. Mm-hmm. Two-run double in the first to get up 2-1, and then we scored 3 in the second, and Hunter was cruising, and then, man, it imploded in a hurry, and we couldn't get a guy warm quick enough to get him out, and at that point, it's 7-5, and you still feel okay. They get, you bring Sammy in. I think him on an 0-2 pitch or left a breaking ball up, and they get another base hit, and then it's 8-5, and then we hit some balls hard there for a while. We just could not score, and Sammy did a good job throwing up a 0 in the 4th, but we got to find a way to just answer that 8 spot. You don't have to take a lead just to answer, and hey, we're still here, and that's what good teams do, and we just didn't do it.
Fortunately, didn't happen. Tigers dropped the final 2 games of the series. Now get set to get back out on the road. They will be in Maryville, Northwest Missouri State, coming up this weekend. We'll talk about the Bearcats when we return. Tiger Talk is brought to you by Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis. Here to make every story shine brighter. It's the way they do banking, one story at a time. Check them out at goldenbeltbank.com. We will take our final break. Back with more and head coach Jared Goodale on Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
And welcome back. It's our final segment here on Tiger Talk as we visit with Jared Goodale, head baseball coach at Fort Hays State, on the road, Northwest Missouri State. Did well against these guys at home a year ago. Hopefully that carries over and you can have a good series. And weather may play a factor. I know you'll find out tomorrow. You may be altering that a little bit when you play those games. Yeah, we're going to have to adjust it possibly, but make a decision tomorrow and get that put out. I know they got a really good arm that's been throwing it really well. And they've been kind of struggling, but they've been playing better as of late, and I think they kind of hang their hat on pitching and defense, and like I said, they got a really good arm going. They've thrown the ball really well this year, but yeah, hopefully we can build on some of the good things we did this weekend and learn from the bad. All right, sounds good. Appreciate it. Good luck in Maryville against those Bearcats. Thank you. Jared Goodale, coach of the Tigers. That's going to wrap it up for Tiger Talk. It's brought to you by Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, the Taco Shop, BTI, the Hayes Orthopedic Institute, and G&L Tire and Automotive. Back here next Monday, 12:15. Hope you can join us for Tiger Talk live from the Golden Q, 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. Thanks for listening, and have a good rest of your week. And so long from the Golden Q on Tiger Talk.